Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What do we got going on with these markets? Well, I actually think we've topped out. I think we topped out on Fed Day. When they cut the rate, the market just starts to go down. Right now, we get those big up days also, but we're not making a new record high. The market is coming in, and I think it's going to continue to come in. You can look at the HYG. That's going to drop down, lead the market lower. Bitcoin's going to lead the NASDAQ lower. Now, why is Bitcoin going to pull the NASDAQ down with it? Well, you got all those Bitcoin treasury companies in the NASDAQ, right? They don't create anything. All they do is buy Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes down, they go down twice as fast. Got to be careful. But look at the QQQ. Look at the SPY, right? They're below the 20-day, sitting on in between the 20 and the 50-day. If they start dropping below the 50-day, it's going to start to get a little bit ugly. But I think the market is going to work itself lower. Now, it's possible we go sideways for a month or two because we're in the overbought situation, and that would get rid of the overbought situation by going sideways. But my take is that we're actually going to pull down lower 10, 20%, and maybe it could develop into the big one. We don't know yet. It's too early to call that. Maybe they got a last print where they can push this back up higher again. Now, I was listening to a podcast, Brent Johnson, very smart guy, right? He's a dollar milkshake guy, right? He's saying the dollar's going to go up because all debt around the world is in dollars, right? And people are going to need dollars to pay the debt back, so those dollars are going to become valuable. Well, he's kind of come out with this new theory that, well, America, we don't have to worry about our debt any longer because we have an unlimited supply of people that are going to want our treasury bonds. See, he thinks the stable coin is the answer. Now, I think it's a stable con. You're well aware of that, but he thinks the stable coin is going to make the dollar the only currency around the world because all the other countries are now going to be using the dollar instead of their currency because the dollar is a better currency. Now, I could argue it is. I could argue it isn't, but okay, that's his plan, right? He's thinking the stable coins has saved the debt market. Now, I think the credit market is showing huge cracks already. I think the debt market's what's going to bring all of this down. You see, credit market is showing cracks because why? Well, because people, auto loans, right? They're not paying them back. Millions of people are having their cars repossessed right now. Student loans, not paying them back, right? I mean, yeah, their credit scores are going down, but there's so many delinquencies on the student loans, credit cards. People are being delinquent on their credit card. They're using credit cards to buy essentials like food, right? Like groceries, like gasoline. And then they don't have the money to pay the credit card off and to make their payments. See, there's a lot of delinquency out there. These are cracks in the credit system. And mortgages, we talked about this. FHA mortgages, 12% delinquents, really 25%, but they did loan modifications on 12% of them. So they're going to just say it's 12% that are delinquent after they did 12% of them loan mods. Okay, but people cannot pay their mortgages back. So the credit system is kind of freezing up, right? And the banks are going to start to feel the stress. Now, don't get me wrong. They're pumping billions and billions, 150 billion here, 150 billion there into the banking system, right? They got to keep it flush, but the banking system is going to start to seize up. You're going to see the regional banks go out. That's the ones Jamie Dimon, he's referring to them as the cockroaches. The cockroaches are going to go out of business. We're going to get down to 4 or 5 big banks, right? I mean, we're going to just do away with the other ones because they're not going to make it. They got the commercial mortgage money in there, right? Commercial properties sitting 50% vacant, office buildings, even shopping malls, they're having problems. But the commercial real estate market is in the regional banks are the ones holding those loans, and they're going to become tumbling down, right? Okay, so anyways, you're going to start to see forced liquidation happen in a lot of assets. You're seeing it in the commercial real estate properties. They're having fire sales. They're off 80% of what they sold for last time. You're going to see it in the auto business. A lot of repossessions of cars. Where are they going to sell them? They're going to have to lower the price. You're going to see prices starting to come down. People can't pay their mortgages. The inventory is going to go onto the marketplace in the form of forced liquidation, right? And that's going to bring these prices down. Now, once again, that's just my take. Dave Ramsey's take is completely different. But back to the state stable con, if you will, the stable coin. You see, that's supposed to save the system, supposed to save the debt system, right? Because they're all going to be backed with treasuries, right? Treasuries are going to back them 1-to-1, dollar for dollar, right? So it's going to be basically a digital programmable dollar. And according to Brent Johnson, all the people around the world are just dying to use these things. Now, personally, if you had a choice, I don't believe in any of the stable cons. I don't believe in the ones backed by treasuries, but there are stable coins that are backed by gold, right? So if you had a choice between one backed by a treasury and one backed by gold, which would you take? Well, people say, but Mike, I'd take the treasury because that's got interest. You don't get the interest in the stable coin market. The issuer of the stable coin gets the interest. Now, who would that be? That would be the Trump brothers, right? The Trump sons, Eric and Donald Jr., right? They got the stable coin market going into the United States. They had Binance guy. He put $2 billion into their stable coin so that he could get pardoned. And so he got his pardon and he's out of jail, and they got $2 billion in their stable coins to get the stable coin market started. It's not easy to start a stable coin because nobody really wants them because you do not get the interest on the treasury. So people say, but gold doesn't have any interest either. No, it doesn't. But every dollar you print, and now we're going to print as many as we can, we don't have to stop the spending because we're going to have all this demand for our treasuries based upon the stable coin market, right? So we don't have to worry about spending anymore. We can spend as much as we want, print as much money as we want, and the whole world is going to absorb our debt, right? Because it's going to be used all around the world according to Mr. Brent Johnson. I'm saying he's a smart guy. I just think he's overthought this a little bit. I don't think it's going to work. Like, people don't trust our government now, right? I mean, they're trying to get away from the United States currency. The central banks, what are they doing? They're dumping the treasuries and they're buying gold, right? Because they're trying to get away from the U.S. influence. They don't want to be involved with the United States. Why? Because a little simple switch can turn all the money off. So I don't think that you're going to have the U.S. currency, these stable coins, being used around the world, because we could switch the switch off and then they could not have access to their money anymore. So we would have every nation at our power. If every nation was using these stable coins, they could just flip the switch off whenever Donald gets upset with one of these nations, and then they have no money, right? So I don't really think the adaptation is going to be like Brent Johnson thinks. He thinks that a lot of people are going to adopt these new stable coins. I would beg to differ. I'd take the don't on that. I don't think it's going to work out. Maybe they can kick the can a little farther down the road. I suppose that's possible. They've been successful so far kicking the can down the road. Now, another thing I want to talk about today is, well, I want to talk about scammers. There's a lot of them on YouTube, right? And some of them with AI now, they can do whatever they want. They can say they're me. They can say, Tall Mike, I'm Tall Mike. Can you send me money and I'll send you all of my gold, or something like that. Look, my people are a little bit smarter, I think, than the crypto community, because we're just a little bit smarter over on my channel. I don't know why I think that, but I do. I believe in you guys. I don't think you're going to be fooled by a scammer that comes out with some AI saying he's Tall Mike. Tall Mike would not ask you to send him money. I'm not trying to sell you anything. But these crypto scammers on all the crypto podcasts, they're out there and they're out there. They're saying, all kinds of things, right? And this AI stuff, like there's a beautiful woman, right? And they use some AI saying that it was her, right? And so they sold some crypto to them, right? You got to invest in crypto. And so they went and put the crypto, sent the money into the account. Well, it was a fake account. It was a completely fake system. But now the podcaster was saying what a great thing crypto is, because all crypto is traceable on the blockchain. So they knew exactly where the money was going. And then they went and confiscated the money and got that person's money back. Now, isn't that interesting that crypto is completely traceable, and apparently you can confiscate it? Look, at the United States, we have 200,000 Bitcoins, right? I know we didn't buy any. Where'd we get them from? Well, we confiscate them. But people would say, but Mike, you can't confiscate Bitcoin. I'd beg to differ. Look, the confiscation takes place on the on-ramp and the off-ramp. Yes, you have your Bitcoin out here, but as soon as you convert it into cash through a company like Binance or a company like Coinbase or any of the top on-ramp, off-ramps, that's where they do the confiscation and they can get your crypto, they can get your money back, right? Okay, so that's one thing good. If you get scammed in crypto, it's traceable. They know who took it from you. They know where they're at, and they know the on-ramp and off-ramp to get out of the crypto, to get into dollars or some other currency. That's where they can confiscate it from. But just be careful out there. There are so many scams going on that you wouldn't believe it. Look, Tall Mike's never going to ask you for money. I'm not broke. I don't need your money. I'm not selling you anything. Don't listen to any AI version of me that asks for that. Don't fall for that stuff. But that stuff's out there in the crypto land. We're just going to keep it out there in the crypto land, right? But this credit market that I'm talking about, these cracks in the credit market, I think is what's going to send this whole thing tumbling down. You're going to see the banks start going out. It's almost imminent now. The banks are in trouble. They're pumping hundreds of billions of dollars into the banking system trying to keep them afloat, right? Okay, so maybe they can keep them afloat a little while long, but you're going to see one fall, then another, then another. The banking system is like a domino effect. When one starts to go, you know they're not the only one. Look, this goes all the way back to Silicon Valley Bank. I don't think they've corrected anything. The FDIC doesn't have your money. If they do anything, the banks are probably going to start to do bail-ins because they're going to be big numbers now. Not going to be little numbers. It's going to be in the trillions of dollars. You realize this banking system out there, they have over $300 trillion in derivatives, and that's just the ones we know. I actually think it's closer to a quadrillion, 2 quadrillion. Nobody knows the exact number of derivatives. Now, derivatives are just bets on top of bets on top of bets, right? This whole thing is a paper scheme, and that's why when I say buy real money, get some gold, get some silver, but get the physical. Don't get the GLD, don't get the SLV. Yeah, if you're a trader, those are fine. Go in and trade those, but that's not real wealth. When it comes tumbling down, those are not safe. There's nothing that's going to get your gold out of there. Nothing that's going to get your silver out of there. You got to hold the real stuff, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. You got to have something real in your possession. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. So that's what Tall Mike is recommending. You get some real physical money, real physical wealth, if you will. Stay away from the Fugazi. Stay away from the crypto. Stay away from the ETFs, because this is all getting ready to come down. We're living through a time here where you're seeing the decline of an empire. I mean, what a great empire was. And don't get me wrong, I believe in the United States. Once we come crashing down, we're going to rebuild, right? Maybe we rebuild socialism. What the socialist guy? He just won New York, right? People are getting out of New York because they're targets. Any rich people, poor people are flocking to New York because it's going to be more free stuff there, right? You can get free food. You can get free housing. You can get free everything. You don't have to work because we got socialism going in New York City right now. But it's very strange times we're living through. We're witnessing the decline of the empire. Now, when we build back, you younger people, us boomers, we're going to be long gone, but you younger people, you can build this back, right? Now, my only recommendation to you would be just to go, get rid of the Federal Reserve. Get some Austrian economists in there that believes in sound money. Gold and silver, sound money. That's real stuff, right? You work for sound money, then you get to keep your wealth, right? Get the free markets in there. Let the markets decide where the interest rate's supposed to be. Not some 90-year-old man that's worth $200 million that wants to help his billionaire friends out by lowering the rates way lower than they should be. Let the market decide where the interest rate should be. Build back on a free market system. That would be my advice for you. I know we got some time before this crashes down. Well, I don't know how much time, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe it all comes tumbling down next week. You really don't know. You got to be on the lookout, though, for the signs. And the signs is at HYG. It's telling you this market's coming in. If Bitcoin drops below 100,000 again and stays there for a day or two, I think you got big trouble. I think they'll drop right back down to 20,000, 10,000 when Michael Saylor has to start liquidating. Going to pull that NASDAQ, though, right down with it because you got 100 of those Bitcoin treasury companies in there. They're all going to go bankrupt. They're all going to be liquidating along with Michael Saylor. We'll see how this all plays out. People tell me I'm just a boomer. I'm just a clown out here, and I love this stuff, so give me the thumbs up, punch the subscribe button, get out there, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye now.